recording and live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. Live. Hi guys, I think we're live at this point. I hope we're live at this point. Let's see. Yes, it looks like we are. Hi, it's Gina Thompson. I am the board member that is leading the Show CASA Love campaign. And one of the things we're really looking for as a board is to start an endowment. And the point of an endowment is to have forever money. So I'm going to walk you through the least popular part of at least my job as a board member, and that's the various numbers for money. So let's get right started as we go in, and there we go. All right, it goes this way. So I'm going to start with the total budget. Our total budget is about $240,000. That includes 2 full-time employees, our director, Rhonda Stubbs, and our executive director, Becca, and I apologize, Becca, I forgot your last name, but Mitchell, that's it. And it also counts 2 consultants. We have a lawyer that we have a retainer with and an accountant so that the lawyer can answer the legal questions we have as far as the kids go. And then the accountant, of course, is to make sure that everything is above board. We do really good with that. Only 71% of our income is on those employees. 15% is for running the office. That means supplies, utilities, equipment, those kind of things. We use 9% on training because it's important that we stay up to date on everything that's going on with the social work industry and the foster care industry and et cetera, and how we can best use all the resources that are out there. We're putting 7% right now into the building repair, and that's mostly because we have a leaky roof we had to fix, and that was kind of expensive. It really took a toll on any savings we had in the account, which is why we're thinking an endowment. And of course, 1% is for fostering futures, and we'll explain that a little bit more in a little bit later. So I went online and I tried to find counties that are similar to the 3-county area that we have in a Child's Place. So Brooke, Hancock, and Jefferson County. We have 113,000 people in Child's Place CASA. So I found 3 that are nearly about the same size. Jefferson County in New York, LaPorte County in Indiana, and Mercer County in PA, which, by the way, is just getting started. They don't have all of their things up yet. But they're each 1 county. We are, of course, 3 counties. And as you can see, their budget is a lot higher than ours is. They also have more staff. We have 2.5 right now, but they have anywhere between 4 and 10. And why is that? Because they have more money. Then I looked at the number of children they serve. Jefferson County, New York, serves 89 children a year, and their budget is $400,000. And they have a staff of 5 to 7. We serve 300 almost per year, and yet our staff is a whole lot less. If you notice, LaPorte County has a little bit more than us by about 100, so like a third more. And Mercer, as I said, is not yet started. And then I looked at how many volunteers we have. With their 89 children, they have 39 active volunteers. LaPorte has 47, which is kind of the way we want to get to. And right now we have 16 active volunteers. So if that's something you're considering doing, we absolutely could use you. We have a lot of kids on the waiting list and on the staff handled list. And then I took a look at where the money comes in. In Jefferson County, New York, most of that, 85%, are grants from the state. 10% are private grants, and then 5% are donations. In LaPorte, you got 60 comes from the county and 30 from the state. Plus, they have a little bit of donations and private grants, but that's 90% from the government. And then if you look at Mercer County, like I said, it's just getting started. 75% is coming from the judicial in the county, and another 20%. So again, that's 95% with government grants. Now, I say that because where does our money come from? Our money comes from IOTA, which is interest that is put on lawyers' trust accounts. Every lawyer, when you pay them a retainer, it goes into the bank into special savings, and that interest they make on that has to go into this IOTA account, which goes into, it gets divided up to different nonprofits usually. A lot of times it has to do with kids and foster care and that kind of thing. VOCA is the Victims of Crimes, and each state gets X number of dollars from the government, federal government, to put towards the victims of crime as they like. So those two grants are our 43%. Then we have other private grants. I know that, for example, we're supposed to be getting CBGD, I think, whatever, one of the grants from the city, and they had to back away from it, and Kroger stepped up and took that grant for us. We also have 18% that come from individuals and groups, just people that off the spur of the cuff say, hey, you know what? I had a good month this year. Let me send you a check. A good month this year. That's good. Others that, are angel. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the 18% is also the angel roll. Anybody that is a regular giver, an angel roll donor, signs up for 5 years support, and they do a given amount per year or per week or per month, however they want to do it. But that allows us to know that we have a steady source of money coming in. So when our coffers are running low, like they did because we had to fix the roof, we know there's some money coming in, and we know approximately about how much. We also have 8% is corporate sponsors, and we love our corporate sponsors. And then 8% are the fundraisers that we do all year. And typical fundraisers like this one also include when we're at the parks for the county fairs, because we do all 3 county fairs. Well, unfortunately, Hancock doesn't have a county fair anymore, but up in Hancock, we do I don't remember, but we'll get back to that. Anyway, that's the fundraising. That includes the 31 for 31. We do various things throughout the year. Oh, and First Fridays in Steubenville, we do that too. So, why is this all stressful? Well, $100,000 could go away with a single election. When the Trump government first came in, they put a freeze on all grants to nonprofits, on all of them across the board. That's scary. Private grants are never a guarantee. You write for them, but there's a lot of competition for a private grant right now. So that's different individual companies around here that might include Puglisi or Terramana or some of the other names that I'm sure you're familiar with. The individuals and groups, sometimes we have groups like a church group that'll want to run a fundraiser for us, and then they donate that way. But as the economy comes and goes, so do the donations. So sometimes we don't get a lot from the individuals or groups. Other times, corporate sponsors. Oh my goodness, I could tell you stories. But our corporate sponsors look at how the economy is going as well. They try to be as generous as they can, but sometimes, like the sponsors for this event, sometimes they can't pull it off. And I understand that. As we know, the economy is not so great right now. And then, of course, the fundraisers, we spend a lot of time on our fundraisers. And I would rather spend less time raising funds and more time concentrating on the kids, and our staff would as well. All right, the staffing equals stability. Like about 75% of the budget is people, and a budget cut doesn't mean just losing fewer supplies or not having coffee in the break room. For us, a budget cut means losing the people who train the volunteers. A child's place is a model of efficiency. We talked about how 71% of the dollars are spent on experts who protect our children and train the volunteers. That's important. A roof repair like the one we had, or a reduction in grants, or any other unknown. I mean, heaven forbid, but if an airplane lands on the building, we have a problem. And we don't want to see that. So we want to make sure that we are prepared for those kind of emergencies. An endowment is the answer to all these uncertainties. It would create a capital reserve, which would mean that a leaky roof would not result in a child losing their advocate or losing staff. Fostering futures, Kids sometimes turn 18 when they are in foster care. And we've got a lot of facts and figures that say what happened to kids that turn 18 and don't have a CASA advocate. But more importantly, when they turn 18 and they have a CASA advocate, we help send them up. We get help set their apartment, make sure they have a job, check in with them on a regular basis, because our volunteers have made a personal connection with these kids. And so they want to make sure the kids succeed. Now, they don't babysit the kids once they turn 18. It's not like they're at their apartment every day making sure they're eating 3 full meals a day. But they do check in with them and make sure that they have the things they need. A foster kid often doesn't have anybody to turn to when their car breaks down. Is it worth getting fixed or not? They don't have anybody who knows that. Because if their parents knew that, they probably wouldn't have been foster care in the first place. So they can sometimes rely on their old foster parents, but sometimes not. So they can rely on their CASA volunteer, and the Fostering Futures money goes towards helping set these kids up when they turn 18. An endowment would permanently fund this niche of the program, ensuring that it survives regardless of what the government is doing. We have one of the rare multi-state CASA programs. There's only 4, and maybe 3. I think there's 4 though. It's a regional asset, so it takes care of this whole upper Ohio Valley. It's a unified solution. Our foster care crisis right now is driven by the opioids, and CASA provides a way of unifying. Whether you're on one side of the river or the other, we're there. An endowment would allow us to focus on the kids, not on the fundraising. We have the right structure right now. You saw that we underspend almost everybody that is our size that we looked at. We way underspend them. So we have the right structure, but we're underpowered. We need more. And what we need, if we can get an endowment draw of $50,000 a year, we could hire another full-time coordinator. And that could serve another 35 to 45 or 30 to 45 children. That would be incredible. And that would get even more of the kids off the wait list. If we got a leaky roof, as we said, that would not endanger the advocacy of the kids in our area. An endowment would enable us to bring up the salaries of our current staff and attract awesome people for the new coordinator position. Right now, our staff is getting paid 25 to 30% lower than the national averages. Kind of concerning. An endowment will provide a permanent third pillar. So we've got people, donations, grants, things like that. We've got the federal government and state and city governments, the IOTA and the VOCA and the ILOTA. And then we have, this would be the third pillar, would be the endowments. Right now, about 34% of our budget comes from the generosity of our community. Oh my gosh, I didn't put that in a capital. That is not like me. Their endowment seed money would lock it into the community forever. An endowment of $50,000 a year, we would need $1.2 million to get that kind of an endowment. Here's the neat thing. We don't need you to donate all of it. But an additional $50,000 will give us the ability to do more kids. Now, what if we do nothing? What if we don't do that? What's the cost there? Children with CASA volunteers spend an average of 7.5 months less in foster care. That's almost a year. That's a long time for these kids. They will, without CASA, they would experience more placements. And like I said yesterday, some of them up to 10 placements in the 3 or 4 years that they're in foster care. Children are twice as likely to re-enter foster care if they don't have a CASA volunteer. And that's because the CASA volunteer is able to go out and find out more information, to find out what's going on in that child's life and in the life of their parents and their grandparents and et cetera, and find out what is in the best interest of the child. Where are they most likely to receive permanency and stability? Because that's what a child needs to grow. Without a CASA, children are more likely to fail classes and be disciplined as if their trauma-related behaviors were just them being bad. A CASA volunteer will attend IEP meetings, track down school records. They will work hard to keep the child in school and to help get them the support they need to lower the trauma-related behaviors. They're less likely to be expelled. They're also more likely, with a CASA volunteer, they are more likely to graduate from high school. With a CASA volunteer, that number is nearing 100%. Without a CASA volunteer, although the numbers vary from state to state, it can be 50% dropout. When children age out of foster care and don't have a CASA volunteer, 1 in 4 of those children will be homeless within 2 years. 40% will spend time in a correctional facility before they're 20. 50% will not be gainfully employed at age 24. By 24, they still don't have a full-time job. 71% of the girls who age out of foster care and don't have a CASA volunteer will be pregnant by age 21. Of the national average with kids not in foster care, just the kids overall in general that turn 21, it's only like 5%. That's a big difference. These kids are 8 out of 10 times more likely to enter the system if they are in foster care. And their kids are more likely to enter the system. 40% of former foster youth who have children have CPS working with them or taking custody of their kids. We all pay the price when this happens. How can you help? Help with our endowment campaign. Go ahead and send a donation and help us to have a forever fund. Your money will double and triple almost overnight. With the figures that I looked at, it takes about 17 years and we will have withdrawn out your original $100. But you'd still have that $100 in there, still making interest. Spread the word to your friends and neighbors. And of course, as every social media person says, continue to share, like, and comment on this page so others can see our campaign. The algorithms, that's what they rely on. Our YouTube page, we have a Facebook page, which is supposed to be going live on both of those right now. We have a website, and hopefully that's up and functioning. I didn't look today. And we have an email if you want to send something to the email. If you have any questions, if you want to find out about volunteering, we have a class going on right now for volunteers, and then we'll have another class in a couple of months. and you can donate. If you go to go.rallyup.com/show CASA Love 2026, notice there is no www. If you go to this website and donate, you can help make a difference in the lives of children constantly and forever. That's kind of cool. All right, let's go back to me. There I am. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that's such a big face. All right, I want to thank you for coming today and for finding out how the finances work. Tomorrow we are going to be working on, you know what, I don't remember offhand, but I do know on Tuesday, we have Tuesday set up. We're going to go live with Rhonda and Becca, our 2 full-time employees, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what CASA does and the difference an endowment is going to be able to make. So hopefully we'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and then Tuesday at 11 o'clock, and Wednesday at 11 o'clock, assuming all the technology that I have set up is actually working. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you later.